Well, guys, now I can finally bring you my Battleground 2016 review. As I stated previously, I did attend the show, and I had a lot of fun. I thought it was a really exciting show, very enjoyable, and I wanted to bring the review to you earlier, but, you know, as per my usual habit, I like to see how the pay-per-view is followed up the next night on Raw before reviewing it, just to see where the stories went. And in this case, since this is the start of a whole new era with Raw and Smackdown starting, I thought maybe it would be best if I waited until after even Smackdown. And actually, Monday night I didn't get to watch Raw because I attended a screening of The Killing Joke. And to give my brief feelings on the animated adaptation of Alan Moore's legendary Batman comic, the stuff where they adapted The Killing Joke was very, very good. The unnecessary half-hour prologue of Batgirl, I'm not saying it was bad, I'm just saying it was completely unnecessary and barely tied into The Killing Joke at all, or the Joker, or anything. It was just, I get what they were trying to do. They wanted Batgirl to feel more important to the story, but really, when it was all said and done, it just felt like two stories that they told. Like, it felt so disconnected. Like, and my sister actually made this point when she saw it. She said that the Batgirl prologue sounded like it was written by a completely different person. So even the dialogue and the style doesn't fit Alan Moore's writing. Because it was written by a completely different person. Again, I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying it was completely unnecessary and doesn't tie into The Killing Joke at all. But when The Killing Joke itself actually does get started, the adaptation stuff I thought was great. And Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy knocked it out of the park as expected. I thought they were fantastic. But because I went to go see The Killing Joke, I was not able to see Raw, so I had to spend this evening getting caught up on Raw, watching the first live Smackdown post-Battleground. So now I'm going to give my feelings on all of that mixed in with telling you guys about my experience at Battleground. It was in Washington, D.C., the Verizon Center. Yeah, I had to wait in line for a bit. I did get there early, and I waited in line for a while. Standing there in line, two interesting things happened. One, a bird snuck in, which I did take a picture of. It'll be, and by the way, at the end of this video, I'm going to have a little reel of all the pictures I took, so hopefully they turned out okay. Most of what I got was of the Titantron. That was really where my vantage point was, so I couldn't really get great pictures of the wrestlers, and during the matches, it was hard to get pictures because I was so engrossed in the matches that I didn't want to stand there just taking pictures. So, I'm not a professional photographer, so be nice. But anyway, bird snuck in, which I thought was kind of hilarious. It's like, I guess you could say he got a bird's eye view of the proceedings. I'm not clever at all. Yeah, so that happened. And also, while we were standing there in line, Shane McMahon just randomly ran by. I think he was running laps around the arena, and he was just randomly running by, and as he would pass the crowd, he would do his little Shane McMahon shuffle as he went by. So that was fun, and it kept us entertained while waiting in line. When they finally let us into the arena, first thing I did, I made a beeline for the merchandise stand, and I got an AJ Styles t-shirt. I have one. This logo is fucking sweet, and I know this is not a WWE invented logo. AJ's been using this one for a while, but it's a really cool logo. And really, AJ was the guy I was there to see. This was my first time seeing AJ Styles live, so I made sure to get an AJ Styles t-shirt. It was a good time all around. So went to my seat. I think I got pretty good seats. A pretty good seat. I was kind of behind the ring a little bit. I wasn't on decks 2 or 3. I was as far back as I could go on the main floor. But it was actually pretty good because I was in the back row, so I could stand up and cheer and not worry about blocking anybody, which was nice. So yeah, I sat there in my seat, texting and doing all sorts of other things, just kind of waiting for the show to start. Took a few pictures, talked to some of the people around me. Very little. I'm not the most social person. If I don't know you, just be warned. I'm kind of an introvert, believe it or not. But anyway, the show began. We got the pre-show. We could see looked over to my left, and there was the little station where they were doing the pre-show and the analysis and all that stuff. And I got to see Booker T and Jerry Lawler, and Cesaro was actually there at one point. So that was pretty cool. And I was like, oh, that's where they set up, because I don't think WrestleMania 29 I think was the first time they did like that style of pre-game, pre-show type of analytical stuff. And and I don't remember where they stationed it at the stadium when I was there at WrestleMania 29. And since then, I haven't been to a WWE pay-per-view, so I never knew like where exactly they would set up that whole pregame area. And I was like, oh, that's where it is. It's kind of. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, interesting. Couldn't hear a word of what they were saying. I guess it doesn't really matter, but. So yeah, we got our first match. It was the pre-show tag match of the Usos taking on Breezango. Crowd was hot for it because it was the first piece of wrestling action they were getting. And the match was okay. I mean, they crammed a lot of stuff into like a quick and dirty 5-minute match. It was fine, and Breezango got the win, which, they've been winning matches lately. Maybe on SmackDown they'll actually get built up as a solid tag team. Who knows? Because we all know SmackDown's going to get their own, even though it wasn't made official on this first episode of SmackDown, we all know eventually they're going to get their own tag titles, so maybe Breezango will play a bigger role in that. And, for all my knocking on the SmackDown draft, they did get the Vaudevillains. They did get, did they get the Usos? I don't even remember. They got American Alpha, which is a big pickup, so they got some teams. Maybe they can make that, again, going over the draft again, I mean, Raw got all the sexy picks. They got New Day, they got Enzo and Cass, and boy, am I going to talk about Enzo and Cass, but they got the club, so it felt like they got all the big ones, except for American Alpha, and, SmackDown's got some good teams, and maybe they can make that work and turn it into something good, but, anyway, like I said, Breezango got the win, which was a nice surprise, and maybe they'll actually push them and do something with him, and hopefully fix Tyler Breeze and make him worthwhile again, which would be nice. So, not long after that, the show began. We got the pay-per-view opening video package, which was hilarious being there live, because the way the video package was done, you had the people standing there, the individual wrestlers standing there with their flags. So everyone that the fans liked got cheered, and everyone that the fans hated got booed. Cena got booed, Reigns got booed, which was kind of hilarious. It's almost like they were literally waving flags at us and trying to goad us into the expected reaction. And Roman Reigns was not well liked. I don't know how it came across on TV. I've not watched the show in its... as it was broadcast. I can only tell you my perspective from being there in the live crowd, but Roman Reigns was not well liked at all. It was every time somebody tried to start a "Let's Go Roman" chant or something like that, they got drowned out by boos almost immediately. It was pretty funny. But anyway, getting on to the main show, we opened up with Charlotte and Dana Brooke taking on Sasha Banks and her mystery tag team partner Bayley, which was expected. The crowd was actually expecting it to be Bayley. Talking to some people in line heading into the show, a lot of us were expecting it to be Bayley. I think it had leaked earlier that day that it was going to be Bayley. I'd also heard rumors that it might be one of the Bellas, which I was like, no, it's got to be Bayley. It has to be. And sure enough, it was, so it was a nice little treat for me. I got to see Bayley live and in person, and the crowd popped big for her, and it made for a fun match. It made for a good opener. You got a nice surprise out of it. You got some very talented women put on display. I thought the match was good, and Sasha got a big win over Charlotte to set her up for a title match, which I assumed was going to happen at SummerSlam. Probably still will, only with the roles flipped, because they ended up having their women's title match the next night on Raw, and Sasha Banks won the title, which, I probably, if I were writing the show, I probably would have... I probably would have saved the title change for SummerSlam just to have the bigger event happen at the bigger stage. But, it's the first night of a new era, and they wanted to make an impact, so I can't really fault them for that. And overall, the match was very good, and it was satisfying to see Sasha win, so kudos. Awesome. But anyway, I thought this opening tag match was really good and a lot of fun, and Bayley gave it that nice little bit of zest that it needed to make it memorable. So, moving on from there, we got the New Day versus the Wyatt family in a 6-man tag. Both entrances were amazing. New Day, their whole bit was great, and it was great to see them in person and doing their whole song and dance. And the Wyatt family, I mean, that Firefly entrance looks really cool in person. I did get a couple pictures of it. I thought the match was good. You know, you had the basic character story development there with Xavier Woods trying to overcome his fear of Bray Wyatt to ultimately fight back and try and help his team win. The Wyatts ended up winning, which was kind of surprising considering A, they're going to be split up, and B, the New Day are the tag team champions. But I guess it's good that Bray won, because that dude needs to be built up. I mean, especially when you look at the SmackDown roster, he should be the top heel of that show. But yeah, I guess now I can talk about some of the things that happened on Raw and on SmackDown this week. SmackDown was not bad. I just got done watching it. SmackDown wasn't bad. It just didn't have the same life to it that Raw did, and I think part of that is because Raw's got a much better roster. But overall, the show was okay. Dolph Ziggler ended up earning #1 contendership to the WWE title, which, again, it's a guy that's been fucked over so many times, so it's kind of hard to take him seriously as a top contender. I mean, I like in a 6-man contenders match when, you know, to me, it shouldn't be an easy pick who wins a match that's one fall to a finish and has 6 guys in it. I mean, that is a situation where it should literally feel like just about anybody can win it. But they're saying that Dolph broke through the glass ceiling or whatever. I'm like, dude, he's a former world champion, and he's, like I said, he's been fucked over so many times. It's just hard to invest in the guy anymore. But maybe SmackDown, you know, new home, and maybe some different booking, better booking. Maybe they'll be able to make something work and make something out of it. I thought Raw overall was the much better show this week. It was a very simple format. You had two Fatal 4-Ways with the 2 winners getting a shot at the new World Championship, which will be called the WWE Universal title, which is one of the silliest names I've ever heard for a championship. It sounds like something Chikara would have come up with. But Chikara would have done it with a tee-hee-hee type of tongue-in-cheek wink-wink type of way, and WWE's intending for us to take it seriously, which I don't know. I just don't know. But anyway, great way to debut Finn Balor. Now we've got Finn versus Seth at SummerSlam to determine who will be the first Universal Champion. That's an exciting match. Dean and Dolph, I'm kind of, not much going on there. But anyway, I'm moving around, getting back to Battleground and moving on from there. The next match, I believe, was the U.S. title, Rusev versus Zack Ryder. Lana is hot as hell in person, I gotta say. She looked fine. She was looking fine. Match itself was okay. I mean, it went the way we all expected it to, pretty much, with Zack getting his hope spots and Rusev ultimately winning. Not much else to say other than that, really. It was just there to fill time. Then after that, we got Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, which was absolutely fabulous. I thought it was much better than the match they had a couple months ago. I forget which pay-per-view it was. I want to say Payback, but I'm not entirely sure. But this match was fantastic, awesome, definitely, without a doubt, the best match from this show. And it was a pleasure to sit there in person and watch this match unfold. It was absolutely incredible. Although you did have that one moment where Sami was doing kind of the springboard moonsault thing off the ropes, and he looked like he came down on his head on the apron, and that just made me cringe. And actually, the New Day match, going back to that one, the New Day match had a similar spot where Big E was doing his spear through the apron, and it looked like, from where I was sitting, again, I don't know how it looked on TV, but it looked like Big E came down on his head, and I was legit scared for his life. I'm like, uh-oh, that didn't look good. And but I haven't heard any news, so I'm assuming Big E is okay, which is good. But anyway, getting back to this match, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, I thought they tore the house down. They had a match that was perfectly fitting of a feud like this that's been going on since December of 2014. And this felt like the payoff to it. And this felt like, just an immensely satisfying conclusion to a great feud between 2 great wrestlers. And I loved it. It was great. Where does it rank among the other, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn matches? I think my favorite matches that those two have had were probably the first NXT match they had. I believe that was TakeOver Rival, I believe. The one where Owens won the title by beating the crap out of Sami. and their final battle match in Ring of Honor. Those are the two that I think of as being their two best. But this one is pretty high up there as too, probably the next step down. And it was excellent. It was absolutely fantastic. And if you watch anything from Battleground, I highly recommend watching Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, because it was an absolutely incredible match, and the crowd was just buzzing the entire time. It was great. And we got the dueling chants. Let's go Sami, let's go Owens. I was a good boy on this one, and I rooted for Sami. I was like, stick with the babyface. But nobody was disappointed that Sami won. They were just appreciative of the match and just the emotional roller coaster that we went on throughout this entire thing. It was an outstanding match, and both guys played their parts perfectly, and it made for an incredible, incredible match that easily stole the show on this pay-per-view. Next up after this, and I really, really felt bad for whoever had to follow this match, but the next match was Becky Lynch versus Natalya, which was an okay match, but again, we were all kind of drained after the Owens-Zayn match. This match was okay. Natalya got the win, which was good to keep heel heat on her, except on this episode of Smackdown, they had a better match, and Becky Lynch beat her, and then did that weak-ass segment where they introduced the entire SmackDown women's division, which felt very, very forced. But, I thought Becky and Natalya did the best they could, but again, they were following this amazing Owens and Zayn match, and we were just tired after that one. So, the match was okay. Not a whole lot else to say other than that. Becky Lynch's entrance is very cool in person. So is Bayley's, by the way, with the inflatable floating arm tube men, or whatever the fuck they're called. But very cool. That was that match. And then I believe next was the Intercontinental title match, which was easily the worst part of the show. This match was terrible. It got, I don't know how it came across on the broadcast, but it got some boring chants while in progress. The only stuff that got any kind of a reaction was whenever Bob Backlund did anything. But to me, this was indicative of the fact that they didn't give Darren Young a journey to the title. They just did a bunch of segments with Bob, which, as I've explained before, could have been done better by just having them interact with each other face to face. And him getting a title shot so quickly after making his debut, it's like, to me, I would have done the vignettes, debuted him, and then put him on a winning streak, and then had him work his way up to the IC title so that fans would want to see him win the IC title. But here, it's like the fans are kind of like, who cares? I mean, we like Bob, but we haven't really been given a reason to care about Darren Young, or even any reason to believe that he might actually win the title. And they went with an ending that protected Darren Young. They did, I don't even remember what it was. It was a disqualification of some kind. I don't even remember exactly what it was. But I was like, they went out of their way to protect Darren Young and keep the belt on The Miz, which ultimately helps nobody. And there's going to be no continuation of the story because they're on different brands. So what's the point? So this was bad. It was the only really bad part of the show, fortunately. So, moving right along from there, we've got Enzo Amore, Big Cass, and John Cena versus The Club in a 6-man tag. Obviously, this was a big match for me because I got to see my boy AJ Styles live and in person for the first time. I thought the match was very exciting, all the different guys just bouncing all over the place and having a bit of a free-for-all. It was fun to watch. I do have to voice my displeasure of all the finishes they could have gone with. For the first time I get to see AJ Styles in person, the finish they go with is Cena pinning AJ, which I'm like, thanks for that. That's not fair. It's kind of like me being a Baltimore Orioles fan, and I am. I don't go to many games at Camden Yards because I hate. I love Camden Yards, but I hate going up there because driving up there and parking up there is a pain in the ass, and there isn't much in the way of public transportation that's good to get you over there. So I haven't been to many games up in Camden, but I can truthfully say in my entire life I have never seen the Orioles win in person. It's one of those shitty things. It's like I kind of don't want to go to Orioles games because I feel like I'm bad luck, and I've never seen them win. Well, first time I get to see AJ Styles in person, he's doing a job to John Cena, which really doesn't make any sense because I know they're going to have a rematch at SummerSlam, one-on-one. And I just assumed that Cena was going to get the win there. It's like, all right, fine, whatever. But now it's like, what's the point of doing that rematch now? I feel like Cena's already beat him, and it's not like Charlotte and Sasha earlier in the show where there's a title that Charlotte has that Sasha's gunning for. To me, it's like Cena's got his revenge, so there's really no reason to do any more rematches between the two. But I know they're going to do one at SummerSlam, and Cena's probably going to win just to fuck me over. But anyway, the match was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it. But the best part of the entire match, believe it or not, came before the match. Enzo Amore and Big Cass, their whole song and dance entrance is absolutely amazing. And they were, Enzo especially, was just on fire this entire time. This was like amazing. And this is the difference between Enzo Amore and Big Cass and the New Age Outlaws. The New Age Outlaws bit is so routine, I could recite the entire thing word for word, and I know that Road Dogg and Billy Gunn aren't going to change any of it. They're just going to say the same thing that they've been saying for years and years and years. And to me, that gets boring after a while. It's like you're just doing the same exact song and dance over and over and over and over again. And that gets old. The real money stuff, it's like with Enzo and Cass, they do the entrance, which is the same. They have the catchphrases, which are the same. But the stuff in the middle, that's the stuff that's gold. That's the stuff that really sets them apart and really allows them to flesh out their personalities and get some laughs and do all sorts of things. And Enzo was just on fire, man. He was incredible. That whole is like, one thing you shouldn't do, look somebody in the eye while you're eating a banana. And it's like, that's just great. And Cass doing the whole bit about how AJ looks like a soccer mom, which actually got soccer mom chants from the crowd during the match. That's the stuff that's great. It's not the sing-along catchphrases and the entrance. It's the stuff in between where they vary it up and do different things. Kind of like what Val Venus used to do. I mean, the whole entrance with Val was the exact same, except the double entendre, he would say, would always change. Like, the Big Valboski is like a Rubik's Cube. The more you play with it, the harder it gets. My left leg is Christmas and my right leg is New Year's, and ladies, you should visit me between the holidays. All that type of stuff. It's the stuff in the middle that makes it great, and how you can switch it up and make it different that really makes it stand out. Too Cool is another example of a team that just did the exact same thing every week, and after about 2 months of it, I was like, I don't care anymore. I was like, so what? They do a dance. Who cares? But Enzo and Cass, they came off amazingly well here, both on the mic and during the match itself. Enzo was clearly the most universally liked guy in the match. Cena got his typical mixed reaction. AJ got a mixed reaction, mainly because half the crowd hated Cena and half the crowd loved Cena. Specifically the kids. So AJ, of course, got the mixed reaction too. And like I said, I thought the match was a lot of fun. It was barbaric and crazy and exciting to watch, except for the finish, which kind of made me groan. But moving on from there, we got the highlight reel segment between Chris Jericho and Randy Orton. This was fine for what it was. They wanted to set the stage for Orton's match with Brock Lesnar, and they got some funny lines in there, especially Orton's line about no enhancements needed and all that stuff. But I guess Orton's bit right now is torturing interview show hosts because he, beat Miz on Smackdown this week too, right after a Miz TV segment. So he dropped Jericho with an RKO out of nowhere, and looks like he's on the way to face Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, a match that he is almost assuredly going to lose, I would think. But, who knows? With Brock Lesnar's whole situation on UFC, maybe WWE will sour on him. I don't know. Like, it's one of those things. We'll just have to wait and see. But overall, I thought the highlight reel segment was fine. It was serviceable and not a complete waste of time, because you did get some funny lines out of it, and it did, Orton actually came off well here, I thought, believe it or not. So, moving on from there, we got the main event. And I have to say, when they brought out the general managers and the commissioners for Raw and SmackDown, I thought, oh boy, this is going to turn into, this is going to get overbooked to holy hell. But no, they didn't get involved at all, which was great. Who the hell are you? Sorry. Anyway, I thought there was going to be a lot of outside interference and all sorts of crazy stuff like that. Fortunately, none of that happened. They just let the Shield Triple Threat be the Shield Triple Threat and just let them have a really, really fun match. I thought the match was very good. Very cool main event. Most of us in the crowd were sitting there going, anybody but Roman. Good God Almighty, anybody but Roman. And that's what we got. Dean Ambrose, much to my surprise, actually retained and brought the WWE World Heavyweight Championship to SmackDown, which, after SmackDown got pillaged the way it did in the draft, it's like, well, at least they got the belt that, the real championship, the one that matters most, and Raw gets their silly kind of the Universal Championship. I'm sorry, that name just sounds silly. But anyway, it made sense for them to have the Raw SmackDown divide there and make a point of that. And it gives the SmackDown guys and the Raw guys a reason to root for certain guys in this match, because it's like, look, we want to fight for the real WWE World Heavyweight Championship, so we need that sucker on our brand. So that part of it made sense, but at no point did that overshadow the Shield triple threat, which I thought was a very cool match. Very good action all the way around from all three guys. And it was a completely worthy main event, and Dean winning was actually a nice surprise. And of course, Roman Reigns doing the job 2 nights in a row. He lost at Battleground, and he ended up doing the job for Finn Balor the next night. So it makes you wonder, is he still being punished for being suspended and everything? Although, funny story, as I was walking out of the show, there were some Roman Reigns fans, all 3 of them that were there in the building that night. They were saying, and it was a dad, I think it was a dad and his little kids, so I didn't want to be too mean. But they were saying, it's like, man, Roman should have won. And I kind of turned to them and goes, anybody but Roman. Anybody but Roman. And one of the kids is like, man, no, Roman Reigns is the best. And I was like, oh, God. What's happening to the youth of America? But anyway, and then he started going, it's like, yeah, he's the real beast. Brock Lesnar's not a real beast because he took steroids. And and the irony, I didn't even say anything. I was like, okay, I just kind of smiled at the kid. I'm like, okay, you were right to your opinion. But I'm like, you do know why Roman was gone for 30 days, right? But he's just a child. I don't want to mock children. I just thought it was really funny coming out of the show to get hit with that. But yeah, overall, I thought Battleground was a very good, very fun, mostly well-booked show. The big matches really delivered. The stuff that fell flat, like the IC title match, was really the only thing that really, really fell flat. Was stuff I didn't really care about anyway, so who cares? And like I said, Zayn and Owens was amazing. The main event was very good. A lot of the entrances were very cool, getting to see those in person, and the 6-man tag was pretty good. Another really good match. So like I said, the big matches really delivered, and overall made for a very, very fun show from top to bottom. Again, I don't know how it came off in the broadcast, but most of the reviews I've read have been very positive, so I'm assuming it came off well. So that was my time at Battleground, and it's kind of the kickoff of a whole new era in WWE. We've got Raw and SmackDown with new rosters, new theme musics, new intros, and all sorts of other things. So it'll be very interesting to see how things play out over the next few weeks, especially as we head into SummerSlam. But that is all I have for you guys now. My next video will be another classic match review. Follow me on Twitter. I will put up a poll, and you guys will get to pick the match that I review. I'll provide you with 3 options, and I'll probably put that up sometime tomorrow evening, and you guys will get to vote on it, and the winning match on the Twitter poll will be the match that I review for my classic match review video. So that is all I have for you guys now. Hope you all continue to enjoy your week, and peace out.